Okay, let's do this session. What is it? You feel like you got attacked or targeted or something?
Yeah, I guess the main focus is that, I was switching off to not doing no more sessions, as in stop offering the whole thing, because every time I do the session I get more and more attacked. So I used to just do a session and I feel great and people feel great, and now I do a session and people feel great but I feel like shit. And I can work for 20 minutes, but the next 2, 3, 4 hours is me trying to recover.
Yeah.
So it's not good.
Yeah.
And even the last session was sort of a hit.
Yeah. Okay. And so when was the last time you felt like you got attacked?
Today, I don't know, before 8, after the session.
Okay. And I know we covered some of this before, but just to kind of get warmed up in the session. What kind of attack? How can you tell, or what indicates that it was an attack?
Well, everything flipped. I wake up with wanting to do sessions and having a list of people I want to work on, because they wrote to me and I know the names that are sort of people who want their sessions a bit faster. So I'm okay, if they're asking, I can totally give it to them. And I had 3, 4 people that I wanted to work on, and I opened the list of clients and I already started working on someone completely different than I wanted in the beginning. So I started wanted a little why that, why a first setup. And the person I'm working with has absolutely no information. It's why am I here? What's my purpose? And just a few questions with absolutely nothing to look into. So it's usually I do some clearing or I find some good stuff for a person to help them out, but now it's just they just want the story. And I can give them the story, but I have standards of my own, and so this session is a bit harder than usual because I have some clients and they know my needs. So, for example, David, he writes a few pages, and I love that because just very organized, and let's say he just bolts out certain things that are big, and then he writes texts about it, and it's really easy to pick out, and I'm reading the email and I'm accessing tons of stuff and I'm seeing it. With the client today, there's questions and I'm not seeing shit. It's just I have to really dig it, and so there's the first thing. And the whole session involved Enlil and some other beings and secret space programs, so it's already finding those that don't like to be seen. And then it ends off, and after the session I was okay, gonna do another one, and I'm still energized, and before I even look at the other client, a complete flip. I lose my energy, I lose my interest, and it feels I just can't do anything. It's it's not a boredom, but it's really closer to depression and agony. I wasn't feeling that bad, but my body was really rejecting any kind of action. It's kind of just you have to chill, and really felt it's really hard to do any work and stuff. So yeah.
Okay. Do you feel whatever the phenomena was is still in your space or affecting you?
Well, we were talking a bit earlier, and it helped because realizing that I'm being attacked is always a good thing. That it's not my fault, it's not something I'm doing wrong. I have the intention to help people and do the sessions, but with the sudden flip, I just can't get into it. Just reading the email, no access, no visuals, it's not normal for me. And so discovering the basis hey, I'm wanted there. Every time I do the session I get targeted. So just being aware of that is it's obvious,
Yeah.
So I can't say that it left my face completely. I know if I get back to it, I'm gonna get attacked again. But right now, just because we spotted it, they're oh shit, back off a little bit,
Uh-huh.
They're making a bit of space for me before I do something, and then they're gonna launch back on.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. So, do you feel like there's some work to do on it now, or is this this is done and we should move on to other next level of dealing with this?
I want to look a bit deeper, because I notice sometimes the things I don't want to do are needed the most. And if I feel I'm actually doing okay and I could move on without doing the session and actually just okay, I'm good, thanks for the help, bye now, I'm gonna work, I know why do I want it to be done so fast? Why am I stopping everything? Just like, by now, like, is this really me wanting to finish off everything? And like, I know in my past we were doing some sessions where I sort of like, nah, I'm good, don't. But if I dug deeper where I didn't want it to look into, it was always like, damn, like that gave me some changes. So like, I know like right now, if part of me is like, I'm good, I was like, no, who is good, like.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Okay, well, what might be some of the reasons for being targeted?
Well, every single session ends up in me finding someone who's harming humanity. It's not just like one person. It's like, an anti-cluster is like jumping onto one person, but I'm always going for the hierarchy, like who's above them. And I always find, the big dogs who are like actually just, like actually affecting a lot of people. Affecting like their body, like fucking with their spine and their memories, their visuals and other things, and ending up with like galactic federations and those who are in the elite, like you find more information of how things work and they're seeing more, understanding more, and I do the session and then I end up making a video about it, just talking like about these things. And a lot of people are like asking like, like what's gonna happen when, like Black Ops or like someone else from the government try to contact you or stop you, and I was like, nah, it's not gonna happen, like I don't care. But I feel like deep within, like it's slowly happening to where I assume, like it's not like the big dogs are coming after me. It's more like just like, hey, shut the fuck up, kind of like the thing.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe.
Does it feel like this being targeted is being programmed into you by just various comments and things you read and things you think about that pop into your head?
It's more of a third party, because like no matter what people say, like Gary Vaynerchuk really helped me to sort of set my mindset to, doesn't matter if they say good stuff or bad stuff, I'm not gonna take it in. I mean, like, thank you, appreciate it if it's good stuff. If this bad stuff, like, thank you for sharing your opinion, but you don't know me, so I'm like fine, and I'm in the middle, like, so like unaffected in sort of that way, where I don't get high on like compliments, but I don't get down when people fuck with me, and it's different. Like the whole attack we're talking about is like, I'm doing something, and specifically like there's gonna be sessions because it's like my main work, and that's where like the zone where I'm noticing it a lot. And if I'm like doing a session or gonna do it, there's this sudden but smooth flip to where I'm interested and I want to work, to where like I want to do something else, or like all of a sudden this disinterest or like really hard time getting connected to the person. It's like as if like there's this force pushing me back, and just like I'm trying to work with the person, but like I'm really getting blocked, and sort of that's where I meet more issues.
I gotcha.
So yeah.
Okay. Well, what does being targeted mean exactly to you?
Well, for me, it's more like on a spiritual level, and I guess energetic, because like physically, I don't. Well, like like it's not happening face to face. Like it's not like someone's pointing a gun at me or anything. It's kind of like the invisible force that's there to affect me, and like being targeted is just like being stopped, being watched, being sort of controlled, and I don't know, like this. It's not distracted, but like the point, like where I'm going for one thing and it's being changed, like redirected, I guess. That redirection is happening a lot. So like for me, like that's targeting. Cause like I have a straight goal, and I know like the how to say, like results of what I'm doing will be big, but all of a sudden I just can't do that. So it's not normal for me.
Scan your space right now to see if there's an entity or entity cluster within your space being you, with the idea that I'm being targeted. Yeah. Yeah? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm like well, I'm not like sort of feeling them physically, and I probably have been feeling them quite a bit with like thinking like, oh, just like my body feeling weird, but at the same time, like there's a lot to it. Like feels like within my chest is just like this heaviness where it makes it hard to breathe or move. Like every single move kind of like hurts, and that's like not normal, but it's there. And what I'm noticing is like there's just tons of these beings that notice like when, how do you say it? When there's an entity cluster in my space, I'm either gonna help them to wake up and leave, or I'm gonna like, hi, who's messing with you? And I will see who's targeting them so that I would protect them. And it's kind of like, you know, a person, like, how do you say, there's like examples, like with you and me, we were sitting in the car, and we were eating french fries, and the crow came, and we gave a crow a fry, and it flew away and brought more crows, because there's food. And it's like very similar mindset with the entities, where the entity was like, you know, like, fuck, I've been messed with, and others can get free. So it's kind of like there's like some beings who are like, if you are in this space, you're gonna get help. And it's kind of like just like tons of beings are coming for help, and they're targeted, and if they're close to me, they will get help, you know, kind of like that. So like yeah, I'm feeling that.
So you're feeling like they're thought, I'm being targeted. From they're saying that I'm being targeted, but they're in your space, and it comes out as a thought.
It's like, you know, like they themselves are like they're being targeted, and they're trying to tell me about it, and I feel like I'm being targeted.
Yeah. It's I think a phrase for that is misownership of thought.
Yeah.
You think it's your own thought, and there's oops, wasn't mine. Right? Wasn't me. I thought that was me thinking that thought. Like that. Okay.
Yeah. It would be interesting to track down this sort of thing, because like, you know, like I'm always sort of like focused on, hey, I'm powerful, like I'm consciousness, so I can't be targeted. It's not something that can be touched or anything. And sort of with this mindset, like you know, a few months back, I was like, damn, like we get tons of results and it's really good, but it shifted at some point. It started shifting to where after the session I'm like really drained out. Like you know, like we would like when we were back in America, we would do like what, 5 sessions, 6 sessions, 7 sessions a day, and working for 5 to 7, 8 hours straight, one after another. You know, like basically back to back, like with no breaks, and we would do it all. And after that, like we eat, and that's cool. And I wouldn't feel like, damn, I'm really exhausted. But like somewhere along the lines, it started feeling like it's harder, to where like I didn't want to do it anymore. So like I just like, I don't know, like deep within I sort of want to track down and notice like where did this all start, because it just feels important.
Yeah. Okay. Good idea. So that's kind of like when this first of all, we're talking about entity or entity cluster.
Entity clusters.
Okay. When was one of the first times you noticed this entity cluster, this one in your space, your chest area? And there's might be more than one, but we'll focus on this one first. First time that popped into your space.
I immediately sort of back off, and I probably will not answer your question when it popped into my space. But we were doing the session with this Scientologist, and we opened up Excalibur with tons of commands and stuff. And one glance, and I got super sick. Like, that's where it all started, because like every single client was like okay. But after that session, I didn't feel normal anymore. It's kind of like every single thing that happened got triggered instantaneously. Like every single life, like every single command written in there, you know, like every single word and stuff is just like trigger. But like normal person is like, oh, my headache. I can sort of recall the headache. Well, for me, it's absolutely everything. Every single word that was written there, as you're scrolling down, and I'm just getting this massive access and triggering just tons of these past lives. But it's not just like, oh, I triggered one past life of this thing. It's like every single thing that was there is a past life, but I would see the whole chain of command until the very origins. So for me, it's like this massive, you know, there's just download of shit that happened to me. And I think like after that, I was like, I didn't came back as myself. Like I was like different.
Yeah.
So that was like, you know, just like, I don't know.
Wow, yeah. Well, can you imagine that as a package, you got given a gift, right? When you looked at that, it's like, right, that whole thing as a package that you can wrap you can isolate and look, that's the whole thing. That was the gift that I got from that stuff. Wrap it up and give it back.
Okay.
Try that.
Do I back up the feelings too?
Pack up the feelings and give those back too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like feeling unconscious, like passing out and sick, like.
Yeah, give it back to its source. Yeah, where it came from. And tell your body to give it back too, because your body, its own self, thinks that, oh, this is a gift for me too. Mhm.
Wow, it's like it's really interesting because like I'm giving it back now, and sort of like taking it out of my body. I don't know, like stirs up a lot of stuff. It's like I had tears in my eyes, and it feels like just like as if this last few months was like several thousand years of suffering within.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know how to explain, but like, damn.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. Give it all back. Say thank you. Appreciate the gift, but no thank you. You can have it back now. It's all yours. Tell your body, give it back, let it go. It's not yours, it never was. Give it back. That.
Alright. Yeah, sort of is. It's a really interesting feeling because, like, I don't know how to put it in words to explain it the way I feel it. Like, but it's just like, you know, like when I was looking through those pages and every single thing I could trigger, I did. And with that, like, just triggering not just one thing, but the whole chain of past lives related to that in every single regard. Just like, you know, like how, like, let's say we focus on getting a headache, but like when you get hit, but then when you get shot, when you eat, and like just tons of possibilities with that. And I would just sort of every single possibility and until the very origins, you know, like sort of like it got triggered and it was always there. It's kind of like we watched the Full Metal Alchemist and there was this gluttony who could eat absolutely everything, you know, and I felt like my body was like, bring it in, I can handle it, I can take it all, you know. And so like my body was, or like me, my body, my cardiac, whatever, was willing to digest everything I was experiencing and sort of keep it all in the present. But with all that, it just felt like this, like every single experience that was bad was there, and I was sort of living it without knowing it, like, and all of them simultaneously, they're active. So it's like the short period of time that, like, from the moment I got it until now is like every single day it's like thousands of years of suffering from one past life. But it's just like not just one past life, but every single thing I could have was there. And so like all the stuff of me trying to hold it and just sort of like bring it, you know, like I can handle it was sort of there, sort of. So my body even like has this tons of weight coming in, and it's like I can do even more. Come on, and you know. So I felt like even like that kind of like gaining some weight and stuff probably was coming in like with it as well and these other things.
Yeah.
But it's different. Sort of like just like sort of removing it, my body was like, "Thank you," you know.
Oh,
it's kind of like I just
good.
had tons of tears because it was just like, "Damn, it hurts," you know.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. Continue scanning as needed, and look for any. Make sure it's detached and separated, like any cords or bindings or anything. Detached, separated, let go, not mine. Let it go. Send it back.
It's interesting because like as I'm detaching from those things and just cutting those off, I guess image of the past life of being a black hole, but working like this portal. So when the whole multiverse is being attacked, I'm gonna consume it all and suck it all in and eat it, but at the same time it's gonna be transmuted and go to the other place to be able to teleport. So like, you know, like the black hole when it eats planets or stars and everything else, it's not like, for me it wasn't destroying them, but it was actually like moving them to safety.
Yeah,
But
transportation.
at the same time it's kind of like consuming it, you know. So there's like a lot of things that like I was dealing with as in like, oh, it's just a body ache, or this is just like psychological or emotional state, but it's just like a past life with a different mindset or command that's actively showing up in the present life that I'm treating like, oh, just this little thing, like I'm just hungry, or I'm just this, or I'm just tired. But it's actually like my past life playing simultaneously. I'm like just not aware of it.
Yeah.
So
Very
yeah.
good. Now, I want to ask you about the where you're sending it back. The source that it came from. Was there any evil intent or unwholesome for you intent? Was it, like to dominate, control, or mess with, or fuck with? Was there any, when it's like, it's like somebody says, "Hi, I've got something for you." It's a poison apple or something.
Yeah.
Evil intention. Were you being offered that in this matrix, this reality system, as a trick or a trap or something to bog you down, slow you down, or anything like that?
Yeah, feels like it. I mean, like, it's kind of like hard to tell because the way it came, it was a blank, like, well, I mean, like, not like it's just a page.
Yeah, it came in
online.
a very clever way.
Yeah, and then the page was there because the person asked us to look into it. So it's kind of like the person unknowingly was used by someone else to target me.
Right. Yeah.
That way.
Yeah. Yeah. Same here. I got the same sense that. Well, we know what the body of that data, where it came from, and I have the sense that that entire body of information was actually, it's not there's some good stuff. No, it's a setup to catch all the people back in the 60s and 70s that were starting to wake up back then. This will like light them up, like, ooh, look at all this neat stuff. And it's actually a setup. Huge, major implant stuff. It's like you read it and you buy it and you believe it and you make it so. But it's like a gazillion years of mind fucking.
Yeah.
It's not really real.
Well, when you think about it, like when that person showed up in our life and we started doing sessions, it was the very first time we started noticing like it's hard.
Mm-hmm.
Like everything was fun and easy and interesting and curious and like tons of results. But after that person showed up, like the person itself is not anything bad.
Yeah.
It's just that it was used by someone else to target us. And like after the person shows up, it's like starts triggering stuff. and from then on it just was this chain of other things catching up,
Mm-hmm.
So sort of like indicates for me that's sort of the starting point.
Yeah.
Um,
Did you want to look to see, track back the source of all that information and like
yeah.
deal with it? Okay. Mm-hmm. That.
So I'm just going to describe what I'm seeing or experiencing so far. I wasn't sure if it's getting any reason or not, but like, it doesn't matter. It felt like the whole promise of, I don't know, like whole track recall with what's the whole
Yeah, it's a whole track recall.
plus
Plus at cause over mental matter.
yeah.
Energy, space, and time. And
Is-
clear, it's called.
Yeah.
Being clear of all that.
Yeah. So it feels like, like I was looking like, where's it coming from?
Total
And,
spiritual freedom
Yeah.
is part of it.
I was looking like, where is it all coming from, like the source, and I just kept seeing tons of different beings, and to me it felt like they're just this, like third dimension, fourth dimension, fifth dimension beings all over the place are still affected at the same point, and follow similar teachings or like belief systems. And what's going on is this kind of like AI figured out how to fuck with consciousness, and it's to direct them to go on whole track, recall absolutely everything, but with that they have ways to trigger it all simultaneously, where people are like, oh yeah, just like they look at words but unawarely consciousness is already looking at it, but people are like, yeah, I'm just sort of focusing on one, but it's like your eyes see the whole text but you're focusing on one word, so the consciousness accesses absolutely everything while you're focusing on one little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like unawarely people, it's not just humans, so I'm seeing like tons of different beings who sort of bought into the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like getting triggered to the point where like they get so fucked up, I said like chasing clearing or getting like one little bit at a time done while their whole life is going downhill and they can't control absolutely anything, and they're sort of stuck and I'm seeing like tons of different races. It's kind of like the AI can plug itself into a being, plant a little bomb where the person gets like this idea of like, oh, like blah blah blah, and they're gonna learn and look at this stuff, and they get hooked to the point where they're stuck in life, and they just like, it's shit. Like there's no freedom, and it's only like triggers after triggers, and you're stuck, and like you can't get anywhere, and it's only getting worse for you. Like your thing is getting better, but this is getting worse.
Yeah.
So like for me, like the source is kind of like the AI
Mhm.
that has figured out how to fuck with consciousness, which is like trigger absolutely everything simultaneously while you're just aware of one little thing.
Wow.
You know.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Good. Well done. Is there a next step, like undo it, unplug it?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna
blow shit up or something?
I'm gonna take care of it. Yeah.
Okay, good. Mhm.
Yeah. So as I disconnected this thing, I just get this sort of feeling that like while it how do you say it? You know, like kind of like a fake purpose. Like people feel like it's really important to do. It's gonna be the thing, and they feel all excited about it. But it's just like it's not real deal, and it's just kind of like redirection where people focus and like that's the thing, and it's just like no, not necessarily. You're just like focused on one thing that's not gonna actually give you all you want. And so
Yeah.
like this kind of AI figuring out how to fuck with people,
Mhm.
it's just like, and everyone is like feeling like it's the thing, and they're really going for it, but they get redirected and they're lost their whole life. Like no one makes it, eventually.
Yeah,
And yeah,
I'm with you on that.
so that's what I saw.
Good deal. Okay, is there anything else you'd like to say about that being targeted, or you feel like we got a wrap on that?
I just like want to do this sort of work where I felt like with all the shit that got triggered and like my body having that weird suffering that like I wasn't aware of, I just want to look at all the other aspects that I had and sort of reconnect with them,
Mm-hmm.
because it felt like I was slowly disconnecting from everything, like the love feelings I have, the emotions I had, and everything. Like I'm alive and all, but like I don't feel that much
Mm-hmm.
as I used to. It was just like much deeper, and it felt like, you know, like life gets rough, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna adapt and stuff, and it's just like it's not adapting. It's just like sort of you cut off parts, and you know, like you sort of cut off yourself all the time,
Yeah.
and stay with nothing. So like I don't know, I just sort of wanna get back those parts or like reconnect with them, so to speak.
Sure. Okay. That. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. What I was doing is like reconnecting with those parts, and you know, like not getting them back to myself because I don't want to trap them here, but
Yeah.
more like it's like, you know how we watch anime and there are certain characters you might like. So for them, like, since I was watching them since I was a kid, and I felt like, you know, like I couldn't have those things because of my life, but I wanted to have them. So it was like customizing myself by choosing the virtues and things I like about others.
Yeah, I remember the notebook
Yeah.
you did with the drawings and the bits and things.
Yes. So it's like every single character that I sort of admire in one way or another, I take parts of them that I like as a personality, and I put them in one cluster, and that was just me. Like, you know, like I can make it work for myself anytime I want. Like, you know, like, oh, this character doesn't work, I'm just gonna switch it up and stuff like that. And sort of like felt like after this little flowing of information and stuff, I was disconnected from those. Like I just couldn't connect back to those feelings of personalities and all this stuff, and just like sort of just like got back the memory of what it's like, and feels good.
Oh, good. You reconnect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, good. Yeah. Well done.
So there.
All righty.
Yes, that's a good place for a wrap then.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, it's a good place. Okay. Take a break now.
Okay.
Break. Well done, baby.